Hi, my name is Kien and I'm here with Miss Zeno and the date is December 15, 2023 and we are recording this interview in Chicago, Illinois. Who Miss Zeno, who has been the biggest influence on your life?
The biggest influence on my life. I would have to say my mother has made a big influence on my life, especially in the past couple of years when I became a mother for the first time. I think I've always looked up to my mom as somebody that took care of our family very well in the best way that she could, even though it wasn't always easy. So I think now that I'm a parent and I have a family of my own, I appreciate that in a different way.
Yeah. And can you tell me about a moment when a person's kindness made a difference in your life?
I think that maybe for me, it's the little things that I see every day, specifically here at school. So sometimes they're small acts of kindness being done for me, but sometimes it's just what I see students here at school doing for each other or students doing for teachers. So one of my favorite things about Holy Trinity is that students are so willing to be helpful and kind. I see plenty of students throwing garbage on the floor, but I would say just as many students picking things up off the floor or helping a classmate out if they drop their books all over the hallway. Returning the desks in a teacher's classroom where they're supposed to go, even if they're not the ones that moved them. So those little things that I see every day, I love.
Wow. And if you could talk to a younger version of yourself, what would you say?
A younger version of myself. I think if I could talk to a younger version of myself, I would say to try maybe to look at the bigger picture, I think sometimes when you're younger, specifically when you're in high school, it's hard to see very far ahead, right? Which is natural, and I think that's true for everybody. And when I was in high school, I got caught up in some relationships and some friendships that weren't very good for me at the time, in a way that might have taken advantage of some friendships that were good for me at the time. So just telling myself that there was a lot of life left to live and that I should maybe be a little bit more careful of the people that I gave my time and my heart to.
And when and why did you decide to become a teacher?
I decided to become a teacher when I was very young. It's what I've always wanted to do my whole life. I think it's changed a little bit over the years. I remember when I was very young, for example, when I was in the second grade, I really wanted to be a second grade teacher. When I was in fifth grade, I was like, I want to be a fifth grade teacher because I loved my teachers so much growing up. But definitely by the time I got to middle school or high school, I knew that my skill set was definitely geared towards older students, young adults, really. So I've really, really enjoyed teaching high school.
If you have another chance, will you still choose to be a teacher?
Yep, every day. I'm very grateful and I feel very lucky to wake up every day and choose to be right here.
Oh, that's good. And can you tell me about the first day you as a teacher?
My first day?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember it, actually. I do. I was young. I was only 22 on my first day teaching at Holy Trinity. And I remember my very first friend at Holy Trinity was another teacher named Miss Neese. She used to be the teacher that was in charge of the RLC. And on the first day, my first day at Holy Trinity, the 7:50 bell rang and I was making my way up to room 206 and I passed by the RLC and she gave me this big hug and she said, "OMG, Jordan, don't worry, it's gonna be okay." And I don't think that I was nervous until maybe that moment, but you know, she was right. It was okay, and you know, I'm still around, so it was a good day. I'll never forget my first sophomores that year. The very first ones I met, their names were Bashar. It's the first sophomore I met.
How is different from now you imagine it to be?
Teaching or just my life in general?
In teaching?
In teaching, yeah. So, you know, I haven't been here for 30 years or anything, but even just in 11, a lot has changed. The first year I was here, for example, most students had a cell phone, but not every single student had a cell phone. Social media was a little bit less intense, even 10 years ago than it is now. Students didn't have Chromebooks available, which has been also really interesting as a teacher over the past few years to try and find that balance between trying to use them in a way that's going to advance us, but also maintain that balance between not getting lost in the Chromebooks. But yeah, for my first several years at Holy Trinity, the students didn't have Chromebooks or even HT email, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, in my country now, it's hard for the secondary school student have a phone. Mm-hmm. Their parents will not allow them to have a phone.
Wow.
Then they are not allowed to use phone or something like Chromebook or laptop during class until they go to college or university.
Oh wow, okay. So pretty much all the secondary schools in your country, no computers, no cell phones.
Yeah, wow. And in high school too, they are not allowed to use Chromebook or laptop to take note in high school too.
Okay, how interesting.
What's the most challenging moment you have experienced in the classroom?
Challenging moments in the classroom. You know, it'd be hard to talk about the last 10 years and teaching specifically without talking about what the pandemic did to teaching and learning. So I was here through that, you know, before, during, and after, and it was really hard because, you know, so much of teaching and so many of my favorite parts of teaching are being able to connect with my students and to be away from them and to feel like I didn't get to know them or see them in that way for so long. To watch some of the challenges and to hear some of the struggles and the suffering that they were having to go through was really hard. As well as, I guess, the way we all had to adjust when we came back. There was a period of time when everything was very hybrid, you know. Some students were in and out of the building, some students remained online, and it took many years for us to get back to what we would consider to be the usual. So that was very challenging for me.
Wow. And if you have a chance, what would you give to yourself in your first year of teaching?
In my first year of teaching, do you mean like if there's something that I wish I would have known or could give to myself? Maybe just a little bit more patience, maybe. I feel like I was maybe trying to be more strict in that first year in ways that was not actually helping my classroom and my classroom management, just because over the years I've kind of learned what patience and flexibility and a sense of humor can do to building classroom relationships. But I would have told first year Ms. Zeno that would come with time. I don't think that's something I could have had in that first year, because it took so long to develop that. So.
Thank you. That's the last question.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Miss Zeno.
Bye, Kien.